Good evening, YouTube. This is your one and only Immortal Afro Actual, and today's topic once again is Spyro. In last week's video, we lightly touched on the potential prospect of a satisfactory sequel to Year of the Dragon, or Spyro 3. I forwarded the notion that since the Reignited Trilogy showcases a superb return to form of our beloved dragon, the possibility of continuing the franchise does seem applicable, if done properly. So in today's video, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this idea and see if we can come up with some substantial plot points and story arcs that could possibly fulfill the expectations of an actual sequel to the Spyro trilogy. Now, before we begin, I'd like to first build a foundation on which these new ideas will manifest: the original trilogy. I'm pretty confident that nobody will argue against the idea that the original trilogy was the best this franchise has ever been. Now, it may seem like a bit of a limitation working within the confines of a 20-year-old game series, but in my opinion, I believe it is the optimal way to move forward. Rule number 1 to this foundation: special abilities like flying or different breath techniques are regulated to power-ups. It's important to understand that Spyro at its core is a platformer. Every level in the trilogy was designed this way. You got around by walking, charging, gliding, hovering, jumping, and occasionally with some special skills, swimming or the head dash. Power-ups like flying or super breath were only introduced to a level when there was a specific challenge present that required its use. I know we're all kind of expecting Spyro to be able to fly at this point, but that's what the speedways are for. Rule number 2. Certain NPCs remain unplayable. And yes, I'm talking about Hunter. Hunter in the original trilogy was depicted as more of a comic relief, a Dan Habinky, if you will. Not really the kind of character you would depend on or trust. Making him playable kind of undermines his entire character. I mean, think about it. Hunter can swim, fly, jump farther than Spyro can glide, straight up throw hands with a monster twice his size, can be in two places at the same time, somehow, extremely proficient at skateboarding, and folded a former bantamweight champion boxer in like a second. Hunter is broken. There is a reason why a big part of his character is to be woefully ignorant or just straight up stupid.
You're in a cage, you furry numbskull. How can I trap you by letting you out?
I don't know. You sorceress types can be sneaky.
Rule number 3. Collecting is paramount. Whether it's gems, dragons, talismans, or eggs, collecting them all for the ultimate in-game reward is a must. Every game in the trilogy has this feature, and I would expect no less from any game following. Rule number 4. Playable characters get sequential buffs as Spyro did from game to game, should they reappear. One of the terrific things about the Spyro trilogy is that with each sequel, Spyro develops some new, subtle abilities that increase the playability of each game. It's pretty clear that he maxed out toward the end of Ripto's Rage, since in Year of the Dragon, his moveset was largely identical. I can understand Insomniac's reasoning as to why they thought they'd reached their peak with Spyro, gameplay-wise. Doing something weird like giving him a gun would be pretty stupid. But in order to keep Year of the Dragon from being dull, they brought in 5 new playable characters. They came in the form of Sheila, Bentley, Sergeant Bird, Agent 9, and your good old boy Sparks. Some of these characters added a unique spin to platforming, while others changed the gameplay entirely. If any of them were to reappear in Spyro 4 and be playable, I would only expect that they all get decent buffs just like our boy Spyro did from game to game. Rule number 5. Sparks doesn't speak words. Sparks being able to communicate through buzzing words may have been a little bit annoying in Year of the Dragon, but they made a hell of a lot more sense than David Spade, Wayne Brady. No, just the regular buzzing sounds he makes from the first 2 games are preferred, but if he has to talk, it cannot go anywhere past Spyro 3. Let the buzzing words stay, just don't give him a voice. That was stupid. Rule number 6. Portals and hub worlds. Navigating through the Spyro verse has always been pretty straightforward. There are several main realms or hub worlds, and within those hub worlds are numerous portals that lead to other worlds where side quests can be fulfilled before returning to the main hub world to progress through the main story. This formula has remained completely unchanged in the trilogy, and I see no reason to deviate from it moving forward. Rule number 7. Looney Tunes tone. A big part of why Spyro was so appealing to us way back in the day was because of his cartoonist nature. If anything, it was like having a playable version of a Tex Avery cartoon. The tone was silly overall, with animations like Spyro getting flattened like a sheet of paper, characters getting stepped on, Spyro getting burnt to a crisp, Hunter tripping on just about everything as if he was a character in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, falling through a trap door, Bianca getting swallowed and spit back out, lol, a fight cloud, Moneybags getting kicked, shot at with lasers and rockets and being beat down with a club, and characters that are just straight up roasting each other.
You schooled them like a bunch of frost-bitten, flat-footed, molasses-eating, lead-pants-wearing, cross-eyed glacier trolls riding slabs of plywood with sandpaper on the bottom!
Spyro wasn't intended to have a long-lasting, serious, gothic tone. Slapstick humor was his bread and butter, and seeing as how Golden Age cartoons still make me laugh years later, there's no reason to change that. Now that we have the rules for our foundation established, let's talk story. I'm not 100% certain, but I believe the time frame between games in the original trilogy was anywhere between a few weeks to a couple months. So we're going to grant Spyro 4 that exact same time frame. Spyro 3 ends with the defeat of the sorceress, which means that whatever spell she used to banish the dragons in the first place should be lifted, allowing them to reclaim the Forgotten World. All should be well, right? Well, in the epilogue of Spyro 3, there is the ending where you can see that Ripto and Nasty Nork are sitting down discussing a Spyro problem, which naturally means that the two of them will likely team up together to take him down. Both Nasty Nork and Ripto are reasonably powerful, so a tag team of this caliber should make great adversaries for not only Spyro, but the rest of his friends as well. Alright, since we got our villains now, what are they gonna do? I believe that Spyro 4 should be an amalgamation of all the previous game's conflicts. Seeing as how our villains are familiar, so should their approach. Nasty Nork can launch an assault on the Dragon Realms by using his magic to once again turn gems into an army of minions, as well as trapping all the Elder Dragons in crystal, while Ripto pays off a private army of Rhinox to help him reappropriate the kingdoms in Avalar. This gives our heroes a lot more work to do. Seeing as how the dragons should now theoretically be scattered all across the Forgotten World as well as the Dragon Kingdom, it would make sense that some characters like Sheila or Agent 9 would be the only ones to be able to reach them in certain places. This gives us an opportunity to further explore their homeworlds as well as try out some new platforming mechanics. The Egg Thieves can make a return too, this time making off with some of the Professor's orbs, which would be required in order to progress through the worlds of Avalar. So let's summarize. Free dragons to progress through the Dragon Realm and the Forgotten Worlds, reacquire orbs to progress through the worlds of Avalar, collect gems because you know Moneybags will try to profit off of this some kind of way, crossover levels with new characters helping in different worlds, new Nasty Nork and Ripto sub-bosses for all the other playable characters to interact with, new main bosses that require cooperation between all other characters, new but familiar redesigns of classic levels from previous Spyro games, new challenges within worlds caused by Ripto and Nasty Nork's influence, and NPCs like Bianca, Hunter, Allura, and the Professor can be rescued in order to progress through their stories. Alright, there's plenty more I could add to this, but I think I'll stop here for now. Could a sequel like this work, or maybe perhaps you have some ideas of your own? Comment below and tell me what you think. I'll more than likely do a follow-up video to this as more ideas come to mind, but until then, this is your Immortal Afro Josh. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you like what you've seen, and I'll see you on the next upload. Take it easy.